Arifureta From Common Place to World's Strongest. Just another anime that proves that no matter how bad an anime seems, people will continue watching as long as it's an isekai. Besides, what's the chances it's actually as bad as everyone makes it out to be? Yes, finally! Episode 1 is out, let's go!
A few moments later.
I'm just gonna go gouge out my eyes, because that'll be more pleasurable. The main two complaints you will hear about Arifureta is the odd pacing and the questionable CGI animation. Personally, I only agree with one of these two complaints, but let's break them down and then I'll give you my opinion at the end. Spoilers ahead. So, Arifureta takes place in a super unique setting that has only been done roughly 15 other times this year. That's right folks, we got another isekai, and you know what that means. Time to once again project ourselves onto an anime character, because we are currently sad and depressed at the current state of our lowly, mundane lives. Anyway, our story starts as a class of high school students are transported into a fantasy world that functions just like a video game. Everybody who is summoned is exceptionally strong in this world, except for our protagonist, Hajime. One day while the class is training inside a dungeon, Hajime gets betrayed by a classmate and falls deep into an abyss. But don't worry, he survives, obtains god-tier powers, and gets raped by a vampire lolly. That's right, the same community that was up in arms about Goblin Slayer didn't even bat an eye whenever a 300-year-old woman sexually assaulted a teenager. Kazuma would be ashamed of you guys. Let's follow Kazuma's example and see if you can guess this husbando this time. Leave your guess in the comments below. Don't worry, I won't judge any of you. Except for you, John. You're messed up, man. Moving on. Before I begin to criticize Arifureta, let's quickly look at the problems the production team ran into. To keep it brief, Arifureta was announced in December of 2017 and had a solid team working on the project. For some reason, the author did not like how they were adapting his story, so the production was delayed and the entire team ended up getting changed. So the new staff had a smaller budget, and they had less time to produce the anime. And well, we all see how that turned out. Let's break it down. So most stories can normally be broken down into 3 parts. The introduction of the world and characters, then the conflict or journey, and lastly the conclusion or ending. For an unknown reason, Arifureta decided they would just skip the entire introduction step of the process and just try to fill in the missing information through brief flashbacks. And this failed miserably. Let's compare the starting point of the anime to the manga and then the novel. Obviously, you can see how this resulted in massive confusion for anyone who did not read the novel or manga. To prove my point, I have a question for you anime-only viewers. Why was Hajime betrayed by his classmate? You got 3 seconds. Unless you said it was because his classmate was jealous of his relationship with Kaori, then you would be incorrect. But no need to feel bad, because they decided to leave out that detail of the story. So, if you can force yourself through the first 3 episodes, then the story does begin to make more sense after that. But the next issue we run into is that after Hajime clears the first dungeon, the story begins progressing at an extremely fast pace and skips a ton of details. This isn't a huge problem overall because the main story is still intact, but if you know the full story, then the anime will just leave a lot to be desired. You know what would help with that disappointed feeling this anime might have given you? Subscribing to my channel. People subscribing to my channel always makes me feel better. Thomas Merton once said, "Art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time." And this CGI animation made everybody lose their mind. Okay, obviously animation is a form of art, and because of that it is very subjective. Though the vast majority of us will agree this level of CGI is not what we normally want to see in our anime. But if you look around, you can find some very poor uses of CGI animation in some of our favorite anime. I do understand CGI is sometimes necessary due to budget and/or time constraints placed on the animation studio, so I think the production team deserves a little bit of leeway for the crummy animation found in From Common Place to World's Strongest. Allow me to be clear, by no means am I saying Arifureta is anywhere near as good as the classic anime Akira, but disliking Arifureta solely because it has a lot of CGI is no different than someone disliking Akira because the animation is old. Look, you may not like the art style, and I understand, but that is just your opinion. Besides, art is an important part of any anime, but it is far from making or breaking a show. To be blunt, I don't think the CGI takes away from the entertainment value that Arifureta brings to the table. That is just my opinion, and hey, I'm sure many of you will not be afraid to disagree. So, fight me in the comments below. Did you recognize this husbando? It's Juzo Suzuya from Tokyo Ghoul. So, do I think Arifureta From Common Place to World's Strongest is a good anime? No, not even close. When I look at the story's horrible beginning alongside the extremely fast pacing, and then adding in the large use of inconsistent CGI animation, I would never say this anime is good. Personally, I love the characters and the world that Arifureta gives us, but the way the anime adaptation portrays the adventure can only be described as a pitiful attempt at an otherwise brilliant story. But if you are able to look past the jankiness of Arifureta, you might just find an intriguing story surrounded by lovable characters. Just ask yourself this question: does the title, The Rising of the Tokyo Ghoul Gun Hero, sound interesting to you? If you said yes, then you will probably enjoy watching Arifureta From Common Place to World's Strongest. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope to see you next time.